Lee Zitek, a senior director, head of research at Hudden's Asia, joins us now. Mr. Lee, so the additional buyer stamp duty doubling 60% for foreigners buying any residential property in Singapore. What's your reaction?
I think the amount of increase is something that is a bit of surprise, because that is really punitive on foreigners who actually wants to, say, relocate to Singapore to actually stay here, or even sell a business and to actually contribute to the economy.
Yeah, so this is also the third round of cooling measures in Singapore since December 2021. Then when can we see the impact? Clearly, the first two rounds were not. It was just for moderation, right? So that's what the government is saying.
In the past, when we had cooling measures, say like in 2018, the demand actually reacted immediately. It was more like a knee-jerk reaction. So there was a slowdown in terms of the demand and a bit of slightly less than 1% moderation in prices. Then when we came to the cooling measure in 2021, there was also the same demand slowing down. Prices also eased a bit. But in 2022, there was not much of an impact. The prices still continue its growth, because I think that was much less on the private market. So this time around, we think that the knee-jerk reaction is going to come in again, because everyone needs to, in a way, understand more, digest it, and also to work out their finances if they are to actually purchase a second property for locals. And what are their other alternatives? Could they be looking at selling their existing home first and then rent in the interim while they buy another new home?
Authorities also in the statement saying that there were renewed signs of acceleration in Q1 amid resilient demand. What is fueling that?
There are a number of factors. Of course, the first we will say that is actually the geopolitical tensions around the region. When we look at the group of foreign buyers that had bought properties in Singapore, let's say in 2022, there was a significant increase in purchases from Taiwan. So that Taiwan actually make up all of a sudden one of the top 10 group of buyers, going into number 6 itself. And this year, we're also seeing more Taiwanese actually coming over. So that has actually played a portion of it. And others, geopolitical tensions in other parts of the world also are fueling some of the high net worth individual, ultra high net worth individual, to actually look at safe havens like Singapore, where it is stable politically, as well as this entire region, where they actually look at it as one where the future growth is going to be. And that's why a lot of them are actually looking at setting up businesses here. We have seen quite a number of inquiries from citizens, businesses from North Asia, looking actually to sell regional headquarters over in Singapore. So that all this will all come together to actually fuel the interest in residential properties here, because when they sell the business, they also need place to stay.
Well, Mr. Lee, are you concerned about the latest property cooling measures? I mean, well, the intention is to promote, a sustainable property market. Are you concerned that it could also sort of reduce the attractiveness of Singapore for foreign investors?
I think the attractiveness of Singapore is not just solely based on the, say, residential market. It is an entire package in itself, whether the foreigners do want to come here to actually sell operations and businesses. And the residential component is just one part of the equation. They need not buy. The other alternative for them is actually to rent. And we have also seen on the ground that some foreigners, while they are actually renting, they are actually making application for their permanent residency in Singapore. And there are also others who are actually going to apply for a Singapore citizen. So when all this happens, we will see that the demand, there will be incremental demand in the number of PRs as well as for buying properties in Singapore.
And Mr. Lee, finally, are property prices out of reach for Singaporeans? They seem to be facing a double whammy of higher interest rates for loans, as well as those rising prices for homes.
Yeah, for locals wise, by and large, when we look at the demand in the first quarter, it has actually increased compared to the last quarter of the year. That's the projects wise. So that has actually, in a way, that buyers are able to actually afford the prices that is actually marketed by developers. So by and large, there are still quite a fair bit of buyers who are able to actually buy a private residential home. So we won't say that it is out of reach for Singaporeans, but that is actually a home for each budget and each of the earning ability of Singaporeans staying here in Singapore.
Mr. Lee, thank you for joining us this morning. Lisa Tate there, Senior Director, Head of Research at Huttons Asia.